Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Sacred Frequency Podcast. I'm your host, Scotty the High-Strung Hippie. Just a heads up, be prepared for a gratuitous use of the words and This episode of the Sacred Frequency Podcast was recorded live at Om and Honey Reggae Radio and Media Studios in beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. Welcome to Sacred Frequency, the official podcast of Sacred Echo Nonprofit, where holistic healing, rhythmic sounds, and nature-inspired living come together. Join us as we connect with healers, musicians, industry professionals, and visionaries, sharing wisdom to elevate your body, mind, and spirit. Tune in, harmonize, and embrace the sacred vibrations of life. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Sacred Frequency Podcast. Start with a little reggae music introduction. Absolutely love it. This is one of my favorites, Augustus Pablo. So you can never go wrong with that reggae vibe.
That's true.
So we're coming to you live from the Om and Honey Studios in beautiful Daytona Beach, Florida. Actually, we are on location at our special guest house, Brittany. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. Today's podcast is something special. It's definitely something that I hold dear to my heart. As you can see, I'm wearing them, and by pointing at them, if you're watching the video, you already know. Our podcast today is on the healing power of crystals. And I have with me in the studio our special guest, Brittany Duncan. She is what you would say, a crystal connoisseur. I call her definitely a professional in the field of crystals, the healing property of crystals, every single aspect about them. So we're gonna give you a little bit of education on them. So we can go ahead and get started. Brittany, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and kind of tell people exactly where you're from, what you're about, and what you do.
Yeah, so I am here in Daytona, but I come by way of Georgia and California. It's kind of been a whole thing. However, when it comes to crystals, I started my journey as a little kid in the mountains of California. I've always loved minerals, always rock collecting, grabbing the coolest rock. I had no idea about metaphysical properties.
Right.
That wasn't where it was at for me.
Right.
It was just pretty and shiny. And I was telling a story. As a matter of fact, we already did this podcast once, by the way.
Right. Yes.
Just so we make it clear. We've already done this podcast, but our audio ceased to exist. So we are bringing it back to you live and even better. You can't even do
Somebody
it.
else thinks that's funny for some reason.
Can't even do it. But no, so when I was a kid, I was always collecting everything that I thought was pretty. And of course, in the mountains of California, that's going to be obsidian. You're going to find a lot of obsidian. I haven't found an arrowhead worth a dang.
Right.
But I would always find chunks. And one of the coolest memories I've ever had was up in the high Sierras, and I found a chunk of mahogany obsidian.
Okay.
And we call it a crystal, but that's not real.
Right.
So because obsidian is what it is, it actually doesn't have a crystalline structure.
Right.
It is molten lava. It is glass.
Okay.
So it is still used in the crystal world with its metaphysical properties.
Right.
But again, if we're going to be precise, let's talk about it. So no, it started there at a very young age. I fell in love then, and that continued into my adulthood. And because of that, I I use crystals in different modalities for several reasons. Sometimes it's just because they look pretty.
Right.
Sometimes
they are absolutely beautiful. I have them all over my house. Every turn you take, you see one.
Yeah. And for those of you that can actually see it, I've got every surface in our home has crystals. And I think I told you about this, but I was pretty dead to the world for many years. I was considered disabled. And then I went into what us in the community, when I say community, spiritual community, those that are just doing their shadow work and their deep diving, I went into what we call the dark night of the soul. And that means that I felt completely disconnected from my soul.
Sure.
I wasn't living, I was just existing. And that was because I had spent years and years disabled, from bone issues to nerve issues, muscle issues, degeneration, all of that. And I was unhealthy in every aspect of my life, and I became a shell of a person.
Right.
And to fill that void, I actually started buying crystals.
Right.
I wasn't doing it because I knew the metaphysical properties. I mean, I did. But I wasn't doing it like, oh, I'm going to buy this amethyst because
I know the healing properties. I'm just going to buy it because it's pretty.
Exactly.
Right.
Even though I knew that it had the capabilities. But that's when my journey started, was when they started working even without my intention.
I think crystals are kind of like plants in some way, because the shamans back in the day used to say that the plant would tell them, use me.
Yeah.
And I think the same way with crystals, they kind of call out to you.
Correct. And just like with plants, they emit energy and a frequency. And
Certainly.
It's extremely powerful, and it interacts with the energy centers of our body to help us heal. And just like with plant medicine, whether it's ingested or it's topical, or you just have plants in your home because they purify the air, or because they bring a sense of greenery, which we've all scientifically proven that being outdoors improves your health.
100%.
So if you can't have your outdoors, you bring your outdoors indoors.
Right. Yes, absolutely. And this is off topic about crystals, but you were talking about being outdoors. Is definitely healing. And especially if you walk around outdoors barefoot, grounding is one of the best things that you can do to center yourself and to center your chakras and everything. So
and so when you can't go outside, because thankfully we live here in Florida and we're not worried about none of it.
Right, absolutely.
For those of you that are living in those cold states and those states that have not enough degrees, bringing grounding into your home is extremely important. And sometimes
100%.
you're not going to be able to put your feet on the ground.
Right.
So get crystals that'll help with your grounding.
Yes, absolutely.
Get herbs and ingest teas that'll help with your grounding. There are a number of ways that different tools and modalities that you can use to keep yourself sacred and centered.
Because society has taken away, or the powers that be have taken away. They've put concrete between us and the earth.
All the time.
They put shoes on our feet.
Rubber between us and the earth.
Yeah, the roof on our house blocks us from the vitamin D of the sun.
Vitamin D and helpful UVs.
They've tried to keep us away from the natural healing properties of the earth because they want us focused on big pharma if we want to get better.
Correct.
When in actuality, if we were outside, if we were walking around barefooted, grounding, if we were
using these
these tools, a lot of the times we wouldn't get sick in the first place.
It's absolutely accurate. And we're constantly battling what is being done to us.
There's no money in the cure.
And of course not. So crystals were absolutely a foundational aspect from a very young age, but even more so into my adulthood, played a huge part in my healing. Like I said, I went from being on my deathbed, and I was 18 months into my dark night. I was getting out of my bed once or twice a month to get groceries. I was completely dead to the world. I was the shell. And I always talk about my little breaking moment was the meme that, started it all. And it said, in a body that exudes gratitude can no longer house depression. And
because there's no room for it.
Right. And for someone who suffered from what they call major depressive disorder, I was on even higher meds than those around me that are all depressed and everybody's. So I just knew I couldn't live like that anymore.
Yep, absolutely.
And when I saw that meme, I was like, well, no way. I can either try this out and I'm right back to where I am right now, or I get proven wrong. I either prove them wrong or me.
Right.
And so I tried, and I started with gratitude, and My gratitude led me to get sober because I was on 28 different meds. It led me to quit smoking. It led me to open up and be excited about life. Don't get me wrong, I have sad days,
Right.
as everyone does, but I have not had depression in 7 years.
That's
I have
beautiful.
found a cure, and that was gratitude.
Yep.
And then that gratitude led me into doing my crystal business.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and talk about, I know it's a business that's not centered around crystals, but
No,
we might
it's
have a
all
little bit to
healing.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's
All
talk about
healing modalities. I am Brit of Mystic Reflections.
And why don't you go ahead and share with the people what the acronym MYSTIC.
Yeah, so Mystic is an all-inclusive, all healing. It is meeting yourself through interconnected channels.
Very nice.
Mystic, right? So it's not just like, ooh, Mystic Reflections.
Right.
As it is. It sure is. But it is really and truly using different healing modalities, including crystals. But it is using different healing modalities in order to meet yourself. Because if we are not facing our traumas, our pains, our fears, the outdated opinions, every opinion that we hold inside of our head about ourselves was given to us.
Sure.
And 98% of the time that was given to people with only this much information, a tiny bit of information of who we actually are, or even worse, people that do know us, it was given on outdated information. We are no longer those people. Right. Yeah. So we house these opinions. So it really is, looking at yourself and getting rid of all the negative talk, all the self-hatred, all the traumas, and finding your pathway to healing.
Yes, we are born pure, and we do all of this stuff is learned.
All of it.
And we have to figure out a way to unlearn it. Yes, 100%.
It is either by those that we love or the society around us, our environment around us, and it will ruin us every time. Absolutely. No one escapes it. Yep.
And these are things that you hold deep in your heart that come out, through your actions and through your words. So, it's definitely frustrating. But we here at Sacred Echo and on the Sacred Frequency podcast are locating guests that have these the ability to explain to us and to teach us how to be able to heal ourselves of these traumas, of these past experiences that we deal with without having to cram pharmaceuticals down your throat every single day. So
so that's what so Mystic Reflections, make sure that you are finding me at so there is Facebook page coming now. This is new. So I have had a previous business, but I went through a second dark night where it was not so bad.
Right.
Thank God. Where I had to shed all the different versions of me that I had created, even since waking up. It currently is a second awakening. So all the details of that business, Mystic Reflections, are coming. However, if you ever need to get a hold of me, Britt, BRITT, mysticreflections@gmail.com. It's always a great place to reach me.
And if you we'll actually mention that again towards the end of the show, but once you hear her talk about the crystals and you actually see some of them, if you're watching on video, if you have any questions, that's definitely somebody that you would want to get in contact with. Real quick for the audience, I know there's people out there that are skeptical. I have friends that are one of my close friends literally said to me the other day, he's like, I'll accept the fact that you believe and you accept the fact that I don't. I was like, that's totally fine. But if you have a second, let me explain to you. So for the people out there, could you explain maybe the science or the energy behind crystal healing?
Right. So I am a science-based practitioner of most things. My love of crystals comes from a scientific standpoint. Everything is energy. We see it we were talking about plants earlier, the plant experiment where you're talking sweet nothings to one plant and you're berating the other.
And that's all we are. We're energy living the human experience.
Well, whether you're coating water, like we've talked about, your tears, the crystallization of your tears are different depending upon why you're crying.
Yes.
We can encode water, and so it's the exact same healing. This is not, don't get me wrong, I believe in all the woo-woo of it all, so please do not mistake. However, what got me into it was the science of it all.
Right.
It is the fact that everything is energy, and energy begets energy. So whether you are at a frequency of I'm sad, I'm scared, I'm fearful, you're going to beget that same energy. Your reality is going to reflect it. But if you're full of gratitude and joy and excitement that begets that. So when energy is coming off of a crystal, it is working with different energy centers of our body. Again, even without you doing it, because energy begets energy. And when you share a space, whether it's with a person, an object, or an environment,
right.
you are going to encode your little world
sure.
with the energy that is outside of you. There's no mistaking that. There's no changing that. And that has nothing to do with me and my beliefs.
Right.
That is what we have proven, thankfully. So for those that are skeptical, you don't have to think of, oh, well, this crystal is going to go to this spot because it has a green color and green goes with the heart. And you should always have green around your heart.
Right.
I will do that. Absolutely. I have no problem with that. But if that's not where you're going to go with it, then just go with the science of it all.
Right.
These have energy. They are a medicine older than any Western medicine and and religions.
Yes,
they
absolutely.
are from ancient societies, used as medicine, just like herbs were, just like water was. It's been used. Crystals have been used to filter out our water to help things grow. It has been used scientifically and in multiple cultures for a very long time. And again, if you need to get to science, we have calcite in our bodies. We have quartz in our machines. So it is not something that, it's not some new age. I know a lot of people have this new age, new foundation.
Yeah, which is very funny. Crystals have been around since the beginning of time. So
Correct.
to call them new age is
right. Well, and to be fair, there are a lot of, there's a lot of influence into this world from new ideas and new perceptions.
So we've been healing with them longer than we have medicine. So, but to call it new age,
culture,
yes, exactly.
In every culture, we've been using them. And they've been used for multiple different things, whether it is to create art, where they have broken down and made pigments from crystals to create art. That's healing too. So you can't sit there and tell me that it's not, that it has to be one way or another. Crystals are going to heal regardless.
Right. So let's kind of break it down. What's some practical, I kind of pulled this out of my pocket, I can't remember, these are my chakra stones. I do firmly believe that they do harness energy.
Absolutely.
But what some practical uses for them? I'm
a firm believer that everybody needs to have some sort of grounding stone, like we were talking about earlier. So grounding colors are either going to be in your blacks, browns, or reds. Keeping black tourmaline in and around your home is extremely smart to keep everything grounded. You want to keep shungite in your home as well to help eliminate the electromagnetic frequencies or EMFs that are being emitted by your TVs, your phones, or even the bodies that are around you, because we all have electrical impulses happening within us. So you want to keep, I like shungite for water purification too. You want to keep some carnelian and red jaspers around to keep you grounded. So that's one way to do it in your space. If you need to take it even smaller, make sure that you're having something at your desk that increases joy. So maybe like a citrine.
I love citrine. It's beautiful.
I love citrine.
The one that I got from you that I should have on my desk right now that I don't. Yeah.
So
and I thought I was like, I didn't bring it, but
right.
That's my I love it. It's on a stand. It's absolutely fantastic.
We call them I don't know if you ever saw the Jeff Dunham, but on a steak.
Yes. So citrine on a steak.
I love crystals on a steak, man. But yeah, so it depends on what you're trying to achieve. Then you can always go into, again, the colors of them all, the metaphysical properties of them all will absolutely help increase your chance. But in a practical day-to-day, I love a bra stone. So for those of you that aren't wearing the bras, I get it. You put it in your pocket, tuck it under a roll of fat. I don't care. Keep it on your body and use it throughout your day.
Sure.
I do. Joke all the time that I'll put them in my chestular area and then it's just gone, and I will completely forget that it exists. And then at the end of the day, I'm letting loose and letting my hair down, and then next thing you know, a crystal falls out, and I'm like, well, constantly having to make sure that I watch out for the ones I'm fixing to lose.
That's why I keep mine in my little bag, but
I never have pockets.
I always have them with me. That's funny.
Yeah.
So
women never have pockets. It's a freaking sham. It's a whole scandal, and I am not about that life. Yeah.
So when it comes to the one thing that I think probably every single I would say human in the world deals with is stress. My favorite is quartz. They call it the master healer. Yes. Yeah, emotional healing or like specifically focused on stress. What would you recommend, to keep around, to keep with you, to kind of purify your mind or
Yes, I will always, yes, like you said, quartz, hands down. You can encode it to whatever you need it and
yes.
have it. So do it.
And
Always use
actually,
quartz.
now that we talk about quartz, can you show
I
this
will
is this is a video
absolutely.
for the people that are watching on video, but
It's a huge
for the
Brazilian
people
quartz
that are listening to
cluster.
audio, yeah, it's
Point.
absolutely beautiful. It's
Insane.
probably 12 inches long by 1, 2, 3, 4 inches wide.
Yeah.
Extremely it's thick. It's freaking it's
a
awesome.
beast.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to pay my rent next month, I would buy it from Brittany, but
you could try. Even
yeah,
though I
exactly.
told you what I would. I didn't
Yeah.
say I actually would sell it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really neat.
But yeah, no. So when it comes to stress, I love amethyst. I
Okay.
think amethyst is one of the most calming stones. But a lot of people will tell you tranquility stones, which will help reduce stress.
Okay.
Those are things like apophyllite, blue calcite, celestite, opalite. These are all different types of crystals that will increase tranquility.
So if people were to email you after listening to this because they are dealing with stress or whatever, they would email you. You could tell them exactly what crystals they would need and where to find them.
Yeah,
absolutely. Or I'm sure their local practitioner would be the best place, but
right. And if I ever have anything, I'm always down to take pictures and just being like, hey, is this what you're looking for?
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so you definitely always want to make sure that you are going to a local practitioner, a small shop, a small business. Please do not support big box crystals.
Well, you don't even know if they're legit.
And that's another thing is if you're going to work with them, I love working directly with the carvers and the people that are working in the mines and things like that, because you can't just find these types of crystals by kicking rocks down your driveway.
Yes, 100%.
But you have to make sure that they're ethically sourced as well. And that's a huge deal. So making sure that you are going to your local practitioners, and that is anybody that owns a metaphysical store, a crystal store, those that are practicing in the arts of like Reiki or so there's a lot of people out there in and around you. If you can't, go to Facebook. And if you're not an email, find me. My name's Brittany Duncan. You can't fucking miss me.
Right.
If you find me on Facebook, my entire page is nothing but gratitude and crystals. So,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So now that we've definitely discussed how the healing properties and how especially how important they are to me and people that have them, how pretty they are. Yeah. When you have things that you value and things that work, like your car or your crystals, you keep them clean and you purify them. What is the best way to care for crystals?
So you always want to consult, because there are different ways. There are stones that cannot be near water because they
dissolve, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's wild to me.
And
where do they grow then if they can't be near water?
So they still grow in the ground,
right?
And they still attach to different matrix, like different rocks and stuff like that. So it's like selenite. Selenite is great. It grows a lot in Mexico and oddly enough, Utah.
Okay. Which is another crystal that grows somewhere across the world and then in Georgia.
Right. So it all is just the temperature. So now when I say don't cleanse it in water, what I mean is you don't want to saturate it. There are, if you put a stick of selenite and a little water gets on it, it's not going to melt before your eyes like salt.
Right.
But it is over prolonged use. It's going to deteriorate. You're going to lose the, quality of it. Now, I am all about you. Again, you want to be careful with sunlight versus moonlight. Some of them will wash out and lose their color saturation if they're left out in the sun.
Okay.
So you have to be careful with that. A good go-to will always be holy smoke. However you use it, whether it's through incense. Okay. I don't use white sage just because it is a culturally closed practice. You can use any type of sage you want, but the indigenous Americans were like, hey, that's ours. Please don't. I respect that.
All right.
So using any type of black sage, cedar, any type of cleansing. I love Palo Santo. It's a holy wood.
You have some, right?
Yeah, it's right on my little leaf right there.
For those of you watching, looks like this right here. It's just wood. You light it. Smells absolutely
So good.
delicious. I actually have Palo Santo deodorant.
Oh, that's freaking excellent.
Yeah. You can buy it from your health food store, but yes,
Yeah.
I love the way it smells so much. I bought the deodorant.
You want to smell it all the time.
Fantastic.
It really
yes,
is.
absolutely.
So Hollywood to cleanse your crystals is great. Incense smoke to cleanse is
So you
great.
just kind of light it and then hold the crystal over the incense?
I do. Well, in just lighting it in your air, because again, Palo Santo is a purification.
Sure.
What you're trying to do is you're trying to purify the energy that's being emitted from the crystals.
Sure.
So if you're doing that, you can absolutely run it under some smoke. But if you are just waving it in the air in and around your home, it's going to effectively do the exact same thing. Beautiful.
That actually works. I am a little apprehensive about taking all of my crystals and setting them outside for the moon, because I just
don't.
God forbid, you know what I mean? It just takes one
bad thing.
And I'm like, could not.
You want to make sure that they are good to go outside, to be outside. We have a lot of humidity. You don't want to increase cracks. You don't want things to get into the crevices or the fractures that are going to be, especially you're a quartz guy.
Yes.
Quartz is going to have external fractures 99% of the time.
Right.
So you don't want to get things in those cracks and increase those fractures. So don't get me wrong, quartz out in the moon is 99.99% perfectly fine. Sure. But it is always safe to make sure you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's what I'm worried about. So, yes, so that's what I'll be doing. And I read in some places saltwater baths or but there's different ways to purify, but incense is probably the safest.
Yeah, you can absolutely do water cleansings as well. And there's a lot of, I don't want to say there's a lot of people out there. This is what I was talking about with the new age. It doesn't matter how you identify, making sure that you are checking your work.
Yes.
Don't just assume just because you heard it from me or anyone else that's how it. Intuitively figure out how it's supposed to work with you and your crystal.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Perfect. Very awesome.
Yeah.
And the healing power of crystals will still be there if they're not brushed off and dusted off or cleaned off. But it's like anything that you take care of and that you appreciate, you want to keep it clean because crystals do harness energy, and I believe when you have that energy towards them.
Right. And it's just it doesn't matter what you practice. Right. Any type of practicing, you want to show respect to your craft.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
I don't care what your denomination is. I don't care how you do it. You want to show respect to your craft.
Right.
I definitely like to do old-timey practice. I like the herbs. I like to burn the herbs with intention. I like things that are older than most religions. That's been happening.
Right.
A lot of, people have taken that for their own and their own cultural practices, which is great. Love that for them. Do it.
Right.
But honor your craft, making sure, to be fair, my crystals are a little dusty, but that's just really important. So don't. I have a lot of crystals. That's a lot of surfaces, man.
That's totally fine. Yeah, mine definitely have dust on them too. But I burn incense probably
every day.
Well, multiple times a day. If I'm off, it's probably 15 or 16 sticks a day.
Yeah.
And then when I get home from work until the time I go to bed, it's always burning.
Yeah, constantly.
So, yes, absolutely love it. Now, I think you mentioned this earlier, but if you could just go ahead and kind of bring it up again one more time. Your absolute, there's a million here if you're watching the video, if you could see, but your absolute 100% favorite crystal and why?
Could not fucking choose.
Yeah, no,
I could not choose. Here's the thing. I call I am a fluorite whore.
Right.
I really am. I try not to be, but I have fluorite from every single one of the mines that exist. And I love it. It comes in different colors. I love the cubic shape. I love the way that it grows. There's even a fluorite that has naturally beveled edges, meaning, what you do to wood, you bevel it so it has that rounded. It grows like that. You don't have to do anything. That's not manufactured. It bevels itself on its own. Like, that's freaking cool.
Yeah, that's very
even
neat.
If you're not into the metaphysical properties of it, it's cool. Now, with that being said, I buy quartz more than anything else.
Okay.
I really do. No matter what shade it is, I have amethyst. I have Super 7 from the, it's the Thunder Bay, Ontario mine. So the Canadian, because you can only get quote unquote Super 7 out of that mine.
Okay.
So a Super 7 is...
So that's the one place in the world you can find it.
See, this is where they'll get you. So Super 7 itself is going to be a crystal with obviously 7 different minerals.
Okay.
Amethyst, smoky quartz, clear quartz, rhodochrosite, not rhodochrosite, goethite, concoxenite. It's going to have these minerals in it, right? Rutile. Now, that is a great combination, but yes, it's only going to come out of that particular mine in Ontario, Canada. However, you can find quartz that will have 7 different minerals in it in other places. China is a great one, but they have different minerals.
Okay.
So it's got like epidote in it,
sure.
which is really freaking cool. So I do have that and then there's one that comes out of Brazil that actually has 8, and it is where it has red hematite capped points. So it's an amethyst with all the different minerals, and then it has hematite on top. And then even more, there's a Oralite 23 that has 23 different minerals.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's so neat.
So when I say that I love my fluorite, and it's absolutely incredible, and I really will stand by it, and I think that everybody should, because it is not only gorgeous, but the healing properties of fluorite, it helps to dispel negativity. It helps to rebalance. And depending upon what color it is, it'll work with different parts of your body. But
sure.
it is a versatile stone. However, quartz just happens to be what I always have. I have it everywhere in every form that I can find.
I love it. I think a lot of people share that same sentiment.
Yeah,
yes.
Because again, that master healer, it will change its vibrational frequency to match what you need. Like that's
and it's probably the most mined crystal. Am I correct?
Right.
As far as like locations and stuff, can't you find quartz in a lot of? I mean, isn't it like present in? I know in a few places in the United States. My buddy Brian found
one
this.
Of the most present.
Present, yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
It's, I thought you meant our dome mined. I was like, yeah, it works great for your crown chakra.
Right.
No, yeah, it is definitely one of the most mined minerals in the world, beyond like salt.
Right.
But there's actually a salt out there. There's a couple of them, but there's one that's called pink halite, and this grows in one of the coolest formations ever.
Okay.
And it is a salt-based mineral. You can lick it.
Wow.
So here in the crystal world, if I lick it, it's mine.
Right. Exactly.
That is.
But it tastes like salt.
100%.
That's awesome.
Like
I have a
salt
lamp at home.
Yeah. So that's
Himalayan salt lamp.
Right. So. That's also a great mineral, and it ionizes the air. You definitely want to make sure you 100%. Have Himalayan salt either in your diet or in your air.
Yep.
I don't care. Either cook with it or, meditate with it.
Something that we started doing recently that is awesome. Celtic salt, and before you drink water, you take a pinch of Celtic salt, you put it under your tongue. What it does is it prepares your cells to be hydrated. So it kind of opens your cells up. It allows your cells to receive cellular hydration is huge. So it allows them to. So if you take, it's a pinch. You buy a bag of Celtic salt, it'll probably last you 4 years. That's how small of an amount you take.
Yeah.
Let it dissolve under your tongue. Drink the water, and it hydrates your cells because it opens them up.
That.
Yes, it's very neat. So
I
carry it around with me
every single time I'm with you.
But it has to be Celtic salt. So.
Okay, I'll have to look into that.
Yes, definitely look that up.
We were talking about crystals because I held it in my hand, and now if I don't say it, I'll forget. The other crystal that I am absolutely obsessed with is called malachite. You can get it.
So that's a crystal?
So it is.
Okay.
So it would be considered a crystal.
If you're listening, you're not watching the video. This is it's almost like a hunter green with black on it. It looks like it's jagged. There's holes in it. It looks like limestone.
Yes, but the really cool thing about this is it's fibrous.
Okay.
So it actually grows. Yeah, you can see the little fibers.
Yes, I see it. It's very neat.
That are making this up. So they call it velvet malachite as well because of the way that it
is super
shines,
cool.
And they call the chatoyancy of it.
Thank you.
This will just bring out the, for lack of a better word, stoner in you. You can sit here and look at it for hours and find something different every single time.
It's very cool.
It's never, and it's great because in the same location, you get this malachite, which is called botryoidal because it has bulbous or more rounded growth to it. And then once that's polished, it has bullseyes to it. There are stones that you're not going to want to polish. Like you're not going to polish velvet malachite.
No, God, no. I'd be afraid to touch it.
Right,
I definitely wouldn't put it in water. I wouldn't soak it in water or anything like that. Yeah, no.
Definitely don't. Also because you have to be careful, and this is why we were talking about you need to research, because there are stones with arsenic in it. Do not put it in water. You drink that, you're dead.
Oh yeah, 100%.
There are crystals that have pyrite in it, metal poisoning. Don't do it.
Right.
You're dead.
Right.
Don't do it. There are, sulfa based, and just very careful with your crystals. So they are powerful in a multitude of ways. That's the thing, is they can help with the environment, they can help with your bodies, and they can, heal you in a million ways. Yeah,
they're just beautiful. They make your home look pretty.
I know.
Yes, 100%. And it's actually a clever name for a female crystal.
Exactly.
So, but
that's why they call me Crystal Daddy, Scotty.
Right. I love it.
But yeah, so I think that if I had to choose, I would rather take a bullet to the head, because there's so many. Well, I was telling you about my rhodochrosite. My rhodochrosite, my Peruvian Argentinian rhodochrosite actually helped me to, when I was transitioning between not sober and sober.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That was what helped.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. 7 years.
7 months.
Hell, fuck yeah.
Alcohol free, so.
There you go.
Yes.
Mine was well, see, here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. If I needed a narcotic today, I'm going to take it.
Right.
What I mean from my sobriety is I am.
No, you're still sober if you do it responsibly, Like, it's when you're abusing it that.
Well, I want to make sure that I'm very clear.
Yes.
My sobriety is from filling the void with other things than my own truth.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I am sober from. I am sober from numbing myself.
Right. Okay.
Whatever that looked like.
Yeah.
I am sober from avoiding all the pain and trauma and using anything to cover it up or just disassociating from it.
Right.
I am sober from that.
Sure.
So as I have, now to be fair, when I say I was sober, I had to take my first narcotic after being sober for 6.5 years.
Right.
I had to take a narcotic because I had a kidney stone.
Right. Sure.
That was the most defeating day of my life.
Right. Sure. I understand.
So going from, doing all that, and I had to have another awakening of where I was in my healing journey and why that thing is. But no, my sobriety is absolutely from the things that I did to cover up the pain that I was in.
Yeah, I guess I could say I've been alcohol free for 7 months, and which is but that's exactly why I used it too. Yeah. So that was
just
to numb yourself 100%. Yep.
And it wasn't even a coping mechanism. I take that back. It's not a coping mechanism. It's an unhealthy mechanism for sure, but you weren't coping. You were drowning.
Oh, of course.
Same.
Yes, poisoning myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not
on
coping.
On a daily basis.
You're killing yourself slowly and killing your spirit.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So that's, because there are mechanisms out there that are great for coping, including things like we do. Meditation. That's a great coping mechanism.
Sure.
Go do it. Grounding. Great coping mechanism.
Yes.
That it will help you through that stress that you're talking about. Like, none of us get away with it. So these are things and tools that you can use that will help you and that are healthy. But yeah, no, my sobriety absolutely was from being unhealthy methods.
Understood. Well, it's absolutely fantastic that you were able to get yourself out of that. A lot of people can't, and they just walk around miserable all the time.
Definitely. And it really was, like I said, it was almost 6 months. I don't want to say 6 months to the day, but relatively around 6 months from when I started my gratitude to me getting sober.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
All of it.
Cigarettes. And yeah, my wife tells me that all the time. And, you definitely have to check yourself. It is.
Oh, God.
It's all gratitude based. I had made a post on social media about, a couple of weeks ago, how we have a lot of people have a lack of gratitude. Myself, stopped at a red light complaining about the red light. I'm like, this is ridiculous, dude. Am I really stuck at this stupid light?
Yeah.
And then I thought to myself, wow, I don't ever say thank you when I zoom through a green light.
Ever.
You
take it for granted.
Exactly. So I don't have gratitude for that, but and that literally transfers to every single thing that you do.
Every single thing we do. And if we changed, the thing is, it's all about changing your language and your concept and perception. Like, if we changed I get or have twos to I get twos,
Right.
it changes everything.
Sure.
Like, if I will be the first one to sit there and say that you can never compare your trauma to anybody else's because your trauma is still valid, just even if somebody else it worse.
Right.
You have to do that same thing with your gratitude.
Sure.
Just because other people might have it better, that doesn't mean you don't get to be grateful for the things that you have that are taken advantage of 100% of the time.
Absolutely.
All the time.
I mean, if you go to a foreign country, even a third world country, there's some of the happiest people you'll ever meet in your life, and they have not even a shred of what we have.
Yeah, they have the basics.
If that.
Right, because consumerism does not equate to happiness.
No, not at all. But they know that. Right. We don't know that.
Correct.
Well, a lot of the West, I apologize, doesn't know that.
Yeah, and everything coming to light, it turns out it looks like we are the third world country. Turns out we are the bad place. And so,
yes. But yeah, and that's why kind of crystals for a second, but what you had just mentioned, the consumerism, a lot of the Eastern religions and stuff, their teachings and practices are separation from money. Right. Pretty much detachment. That's the word I was looking for. Yes. Great one, yeah. 100%. And over here, it's not.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Attachment to your things and your status and what you have is more important than who you are and what you bring to the table.
That bleeds into religion too. I mean, you most of your Northeast, South, most of your Western religions, they ask for it's money based.
Yep.
So but yes, so getting back to that, we do over here have an issue with that, and that's kind of
and that's why Sacred Echo is
it's a shame.
Yeah. Speaking of which, thank you for considering me in this journey with Sacred
Absolutely.
Echo. I cannot wait to be an ambassador for change.
Absolutely.
Constantly. I have had a lot of growth in these last 7-8 years. I've had a lot of impact in my community in the last 7 or 8 years. But I joked with a friend one time. I said, I don't want to be international. I don't need to be internationally known, but I am fine with being regionally known.
Sure, amen.
I'm absolutely fine with a regionally known status. And what I mean by that is I don't know if I'm going to be able to change the whole world, but I do want to change the world around me.
Yes, and that's exactly why I had you on the show, because a podcast, people listening to it, they can learn how to heal through somebody's words, which is why I wanted to start doing this podcast and bring people like you on.
Yeah.
Where they can.
We have to get the word out. We have to let other people know that they're not alone. We have to let other people know that there's something that they can do. That even if they're donating their time or their resources or their money, they are making a change. It's going to other places. It's going to help. It is going to help.
Yes, 100%.
It's amazing what a community can do. I mean, I don't know if anybody's following the whole TikTok of it all, and I'm not getting political by any stretch. The amazing way that people banded together in the face of a right being taken away was so incredibly powerful. It might have been out of spite, but it didn't matter. We still did it. And so if we can take that community effort, the 170 million people that are on that app, could you imagine if just $1 came from each one of them and it went toward the unhoused, or it went to the underserved, or it went to getting community projects up and going?
Yes, absolutely.
That would change our world immensely. Immensely. And so, we want to be a part of that small change. We want to, I know I do. I'm glad to have been surrounded by like-minded people with this endeavor.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, is a group of people building a community.
Yeah.
To
serve the community.
To serve people. Yes, 100%. It's all about serving and helping others.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I've been of service. That is a love language for me. I've been of service all of my life. That's the only way I know to uplift and to give. Let me put it this way. The only way I know how to receive good is if I am giving good.
Right, sure.
I can't imagine ingesting goodness if I was in an icky place.
Absolutely.
And I proved that by my own life. My life proved to me how it's supposed to be.
Right. Absolutely.
I didn't find it. No one showed me. No one taught me. Life showed me how I'm supposed to live.
Fantastic.
And that is absolutely to be of service to our community.
Yep. Amen.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. That's an absolutely beautiful thing.
Well, brighten it up with crystals.
Yes, absolutely. Are there any takeaways that you would like people to, after listening to this, where should they go to learn more? Obviously, Google, but I mean, are there any specific places to go? Because
they need to, if you're genuinely interested in knowing what's what, get the Crystal Bible or the Crystal Encyclopedia, rather. I'm sorry, the Crystal Encyclopedia. Both of them are good books, by the way. They both exist. I like the encyclopedia because it has both the science behind it and the metaphysics behind it.
Okay.
So that is an extremely important resource if you're trying to get into crystals. The Shadow Work Journal, if you're trying to heal, that's a great resource as well.
Okay.
Google, absolutely. Let it help guide you. But most importantly, my biggest takeaway is listen to your gut. And I talked about this before for the last 6 years, and I'll talk about it for the next 6 years. Your gut is a cluster of nerves that can understand and read electromagnetic frequencies unlike your brain can.
Sure.
It has a different processing
system. Gut health is so important.
So important. Not only that, but that is why you trust in your intuition. That's why you trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
Trust
Absolutely.
your gut. So it didn't just
second
come.
brain.
It is your second brain.
Yes.
It didn't just come from nowhere. That is a real thing. And so when you are working with crystals, trust your gut.
Right.
When you're trying to find crystals, trust your gut.
Sure.
When you're working with a practitioner, trust your gut.
Mm-hmm.
Don't listen to your heart. Don't listen to your head. Both of them will lie to you.
Right.
It happens. It's
Absolutely.
okay. But trust your gut.
Sure.
And one of the most important things that you can do that has nothing to do with this segment, but is to learn what your gut is saying and trust how to figure out your own intuition.
Sure.
But yeah, when it comes to crystals, definitely trust in your gut. They will lead you to the ones that are supposed to be in your orbit.
Yep, absolutely. And I can definitely recommend, if you don't know a place to start, but you like them, Quartz is a great place to start. It's the most mined. It's affordable. You can find it. It's absolutely beautiful. And it is the master healer.
It is.
It just happens to be
So as a matter of fact, I gave Scotty one of these stones too. So I went with a former partner of mine and my dad. We went and self-mined some rose quartz down in Georgia. So we went to this plot of land, and you go and find quartz.
Are they just chilling all over the ground?
So they are. Okay. Absolutely. Neat. Now, with that being said, there's also big boulders and bigger stones. And we found the biggest, baddest boulder we could find.
Wow.
Found the
quartz?
Pink, yes. Wow. Rose quartz, rather. So
the boulder was actually rose quartz?
Yes. The whole land.
Wow, that's so cool.
The whole land. Well, that's not true. You also had quartz and smoky quartz there. But most of it
But I mean, the whole thing was a crystal.
Whole thing.
Wow. That's wild.
I mean, it's in the sand, but I mean, it was the size of a Volkswagen Bug.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. And so
that'd make a cool necklace.
Huge. And so we would just get to chipping away at it and get these pieces.
Oh, so that's how you do. You can knock some chunks off?
Yep.
And how do you take them home? Do you pay by the weight?
No.
Pay
by the truckload. $25 at 30.
Wait.
$35?
Truckload.
Right. Oh, whatever you can take, you can take.
Are you serious?
It was, I mean, my dad, he walked away with, I don't know, 12 huge garden stones the size of
how is it not completely depleted?
Right, because there's such an abundance of quartz. It's just like there's an abundance of granite.
I mean, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's a different mineral. It's just, there's an abundance of it.
Is it still growing?
Always.
Oh, okay.
Always.
I didn't know if I know there's such thing as like dead mines, I believe, when things stop growing or,
I was talking about it before. Roger Leaf fluorite is a green UV reactive fluorite. I told you I'm a fluorite whore. I know where they're from. Is out of a mine in England, and it's now.
That's what I was. Yeah. I was
so
curious,
there are defunct mines.
Sure.
I think they're actually trying to open another. I think they found another pocket, so they're trying to get the mine back open. But that's a continue. So like Ocean Jasper, it's only found off the coast of Madagascar.
Wow.
There's only 3 places it can be mined off that coast.
Okay.
2 of those are no longer functioning.
Right. Okay.
And so once you get pieces from that place, you better keep them.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Once they're done, they're done. Once that pocket's done, that doesn't mean that you can't find it somewhere else in and around that land.
Sure.
but
for the most part, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But you can, one of the coolest things is when you start to get into crystals, you can look at them, not all of them, but you can look at them and know where they're mined.
Sure.
So like, I know that this is out of Morocco.
Okay.
I know that this is out of Brazil.
Yeah, that one's really pretty.
Right. I know that this is out of Brazil. I know that these are coming out of the Republic. The Democratic. I will mess this up every time. The Democratic Republic of the Congo.
There we go.
Right. I always want to call it Dominican Republic, but that's not it. A great crystal that's actually called the Dolphin Stone. It's a beautiful stone. It's that's its market name. Its actual name is Larimar.
Okay.
It's a beautiful light blue and white webbed stone, and it's only comes out of the Dominican Republic. You can't find it anywhere else.
Neat. All right, cool. That sounds absolutely beautiful.
So, or like places like India that have amazing apophyllite and stilbite and anything from the zeolite family. You can get incredible fluorite out of China. Oh my God, some of the most incredible fluorite. There's a fluorite mine in Illinois that is no longer, it's defunct as well because they used it all up. There's great calcite that is coming out of Missouri. The diamond mine that's in Arkansas. So it really is kind of everywhere. But yeah, no, mines can absolutely dry up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a sad thing, but it happens.
It does.
So, but that's why I had mentioned quartz. I love it. I don't think it's going anywhere.
No, it's not. You're definitely going to have it now. You just have to decide what color.
Yes,
that you like.
absolutely. I like them all. They're all beautiful.
I know. But I do have to say that if you can ever find a star rose quartz, usually you don't find the star till after it's polished. You won't find the star till after it's polished,
right?
Because it's cut on a different axis. Yeah. But I have some of the coolest star rose quartz that you've ever seen. I have one on my desk, as a matter of fact, and when the light hits it just right, you see a 6-pointed star.
Oh wow, so cool.
Yeah, so you can. It really is. That's how they cut it, because you can get a star sapphire or star ruby. So but yeah, that's one of the coolest things I ever had. Was actually a star citrine.
Oh, cool! Wow, I bet that was beautiful.
That was sexy.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm telling you, and for those of you, you know what I'm talking about. Just like cars can be sexy, crystals absolutely are too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yes. So I can inanimate objects are absolutely beautiful.
That's absolutely amazing. I think they are. That's why I have them all over my house.
I
know. Well, very cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Once again, what's your email?
So get me at Britt, BRITT, Mystic, MYSTIC, Reflections, REFLECTIONS, @gmail.com. I probably should have chosen a shorter one, but that is where you'll find me. And I will be getting a website up where we'll blogs and email subscriptions, and where you can find tutorials and healing modalities and information and videos. All of those things are coming at you.
Very nice. And once that website's up, we will definitely bring you back on the show to discuss those all the different kinds of healing. Because it's not just about crystals. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening. I am Scotty, the high-strung hippie. This is
Britt, also known as Rainbow Britt.
Rainbow Britt, which I think is an absolutely great name. I am headed out to I'm in a couple of reggae bands, so I got I play the congos and the congas and the bongos. I'm playing tonight, so
that's going to be amazing.
Another form of healing for me.
Music is one of the most
100%
frequencies. Healing frequencies is one of the most amazing. And now my partner, she's incredible. She can just listen to a frequency and tell you what it is.
Right.
I don't have that same thing. So I, always turn to her. She actually taught us something the other night, that Om is the frequency of bees, and the frequency of bees is, what was it? It was healing for the head.
Right.
But depending upon the bee and the frequency, it could be anywhere between, I think she said 220 and 500 hertz.
Yeah, the bee's buzz is definitely an amazing frequency.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Well, I mean, you are Om Honey.
That's it. So Om and Honey. Yep. 100%.
Oh, it's Om and Honey. I'll get it right eventually. I'm telling you.
Both. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely. And I'd like to thank everybody.
Absolutely be back.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to this.
Educational.
What do you call it? To this episode of the Sacred Frequency Podcast. And we do appreciate you so much. go ahead and go to www.sacredfrequency.org. Kind of see what we're about, what we do. We are still in the process of updating the website, so we're adding new stuff to it constantly. Go ahead and join our email list, and we will get you out a monthly newsletter that explains everything that's going on.
And when you see this, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all of that.
Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Yeah.
Do all that fun stuff.
Thank you for having me, Scotty. Have a wonderful
You
day.
got it. Thank you once again, folks. And I will see you next time.